in front of people up here than it is to sing, so bear with me. But hopefully I can get this done in under 5 minutes too. One of my challenges coming back has been being in Haiti for 8 days, and then people ask you how the trip is. It's like, where do I start? So I want to kind of share something, a little bit kind of what Brenda was sharing about worship, so I'm glad that she went before me and covered that. But also I want to kind of share 2 stories in particular that just resonated with me and kind of had this theme in my heart the whole trip from worship. So the first one is we had a translator with us, and his name was Willie, and he also works for Trinity Hope. And I think I have a picture. There he is. It's like the biggest smile you've ever seen. And his heart for God is just amazing. And he pastors a church down there. And on the way back, this is actually the last day we were driving back to the airport, and there was a bunch of traffic in downtown Port-au-Prince, so we were going a different roundabout way to get there quicker. And Willie was sitting in the bus with us up front, and so I kind of like started to learn a little more about him, and he started talking to us about his church that he pastors in Cité Soleil, which is a part of Port-au-Prince that is the most dangerous. It's ruled by gangs. From what I understand, you really have to like know somebody to be able to even get into that part of town. And so he was kind of telling us about that, and Keith was asking the question, do you feel safe going to church? And he just kind of shrugs, smiles, doesn't really answer yes or no, just kind of says it's part of the job. And that just like hit me, because I'm like, here's a man who he can pastor a church anywhere else. He's a feeding director of schools in Legon, which is like more safe outside of Port-au-Prince, and he chooses to pastor a church right in the thick of where gangs are. And he told us the story how sometimes his congregation will call him on Sunday mornings and say, don't come to church yet, it's not safe. So you have to wait a little while. So they'll start church without him, and then he'll wait for a call to be, okay, it's safe, you can come now. And just having him say that with such ease and such like, this is how it is, and just really hit me like, this morning, we all came to church not worried about our safety. We didn't worry about who's gonna be here or if we were able to get in or anything, and how easy that was to just come to church this morning. And it really just makes me look back at my faith and say, would I do that? Would I go to a church that is so dangerous to worship the Lord because I'm that dependent on him? So that's the first story. Second story, I'm gonna try and condense my words a little here. We met a family one night in Port-au-Prince, and met an 18-year-old woman named Emma. And long story short, she has this amazing faith. It was really good. It was crazy to see their living arrangements. There was like a house that was probably smaller than half the stage, probably, that 8 people were living in. 8 people lived in there. They had 2 beds, 2 full-size beds. And so seeing her living conditions, and we asked her 2 questions that really stuck out to me. One was, what is it like growing up in Haiti? One was, how would you describe your faith? When she said, how was it growing up in Haiti, her immediate response was, every day is a fight. Nothing is easy. And that just hits you, because it's like, how do we describe our childhood? How do we describe growing up? I don't describe growing up as every day is a fight, and there's this darkness, and you have to fight to survive. And it's just really powerful coming from an 18-year-old woman who's also responsible for raising her 8-year-old niece. Like, it's just, or cousin, 8-year-old cousin? I don't know. But anyways, and then when we asked her to describe her faith, she went and just had amazing words and just said, without God, there's darkness, and that will consume you. And without that, there's no light. And she got so vulnerable with us. 14 white people cramming into this tiny house. We had just met her, 18 years old. And she's telling us such truth about her faith in God and her dependency on him. And it just blows my mind that those are the words coming from her after she's just described her growing up as being so dark and a fight. And yet she still has this joy in her and this hope and this light. And she ended up singing us a song. That was her playing guitar for us. And we said, would you sing a song for us? And she said yes. She spoke very good English. And we asked her how she learned. She said, I taught myself, which she's just a bright young lady. And she sang us a song, and it was a song in English, and it was Here I Am to Worship. A song that I grew up listening to and haven't heard in so long. And so hearing her sing that and us starting to sing along with her, there was such power in that moment when we were all in this dark alleyway, and here is this light and hope in this young woman that you can literally see God's love radiating from her. It was just amazing. And so I wanted to share, I was journaling throughout the trip, and I wanted to share something that I was writing down at 2 in the morning in the Charlotte airport. So it's crazy how God just works and hits you in the weirdest spots. But so this is just kind of a response to thinking about how, like what Brennan was talking about, how Haitians worship and how they still, despite such poverty and such darkness and struggle, like God is their only light, and they have to hang on to that. And it just forces you to look inward and say, am I that dependent on God? So I'm just going to read this, and hopefully it will have some impact. But how strong is my faith? It's hard to imagine being in a place where you have to wait until danger has subsided to be able to go to church. It brings those words right back into my head again. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. No matter where we were in Haiti, those words rang true in every story. With Emma, with Willie, with the little child praying before his or her meal, with the Haitians shouting their praises to the Lord on Sunday morning, with Ruru and LaFleur, they were our translators, and then there's me. This trip has awakened a fire for praising God in my heart, a heart for worship. Words are powerful, and we've heard so many stories. Pictures speak more than 1,000 words, and we've taken thousands. Even in the most poverty-stricken area of the world, there's an 18-year-old Haitian who sings, "You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me." Jesus is our lifeline. Here we have all these examples of people who are praising God and learning about Jesus in some of the worst conditions, and here they are saying and singing and preaching and showing God, here I am to worship. Is that what I'm doing every day of my life? In my world where I can safely worship every Sunday, where I cannot worry about my drinking water, in my world where I can go to the grocery store by myself at night and not be afraid, am I putting all my trust and faith in God? Am I saying, here I am to worship, to say that you're my God? Like we sang earlier this morning, there is power in the name of Jesus, and all I want to say is, here I am, Lord. Here I am to worship, to bow down, to say you're my God, to serve you, to love you, to rely on you, to trust you, to know that without you I am dead, to know that I need to fight in your name, to know that you sent your Son to die on a cross for my sins. Here I am, Lord. Here I am to worship. So I want to play that song, and if you feel led to sing along, I encourage you to do so, or if you have something that pops into your head that you're struggling with, like just write that down and journal and see how God is speaking to you this morning. So.
Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for love's sake became poor. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. And here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. And I'll never know how much it cost to see my sin upon that cross. And I'll never know how much it cost to see my sin upon that cross. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say